Chapter 11, Delivery. We're going to look at different methods of speech delivery, key elements in preparing to deliver a speech, understanding the benefits of delivery related behaviors, utilizing specific techniques to enhance delivery. So, in thinking about delivery, think about this. We've talked already this semester about researching your speech, organizing your speech, writing a detailed outline, and all of those things are enormously important. But you can have the most well researched, organized speech in the world. But if your delivery fails, the impact of all of that information is lost. Conversely, if you have a terribly researched speech and not well organized speech, but you deliver it superbly, it's still a speech that lacks content and validity. So both parts are of equal importance in the speech process. You can't devote all of your time to organization and research and none to practicing and preparation to deliver and vice versa. So the importance of delivery, our fear of public speaking normally comes from thinking about delivery. A poorly written speech delivered superbly is still a poorly written speech. And public speaking requires more formality than talking, but less formality than reading. So there's four methods of speech delivery: impromptu speaking, manuscript speech, extemporaneous speaking, and a memorized speech. So an impromptu speech is something that you don't have any time to prepare for. They do come up pretty often in our everyday life. They may come up in class when you're asked to answer a question. They could come up in a meeting at work. But it's when you're put on the spot and you're to respond quickly to the question. If Don't mention it's impromptu. Excuse me. Don't mention that you were just asked to say this and you're not prepared. Take a minute to try to get a general structure of what you want to say. Use transitions or previews and other structural helps just like you would for any speech. And say thank you and finish at the end. The next type of speech is a manuscript. With a manuscript, this is when the speaker writes everything they plan to say word for word in an essay format. Manuscripts are written only when the speaker is planning on reading everything word for word when they give the speech. Now, there are a lot of disadvantages for this. They limit the amount of eye contact, spontaneity, and vocal cues. So if you're reading word for word, you're not engaging with your audience, you don't have eye contact, you're not able to adjust your message based on your audience's needs. They are best used when specific wording is needed, like the legal sector, political issues, our president, any sort of political official. Sometimes political speakers, etc., may use an auto cue or teleprompter to appear more connected with the audience. I also think of our newscast. Someone on the news, everything they say has to be exactly right. So they read it from a teleprompter. So if you have a position where everything you say has to be right, there's no room for error, there's no room for misspeaking, then speeches given from a teleprompter is a more appropriate way to do it. Extemporaneous speeches are what we're doing in our course. It's based on a full detailed preparation outline. It does allow for flexibility. You have most of your information, most of what you want to say written in front of you. However, it's not there for you to read it. It's just there for a support and a guide. It allows you to be flexible. If you structured a sentence in a certain way that isn't coming to you naturally in the moment, say it what comes naturally. You don't have to read things a certain way. But it does demand practice. When you give an extemporaneous speech, it's expected that you would know your main points without having to read them. It's expected that you would know the majority of your introduction and conclusion without having to read it. But then you might refer to your notes for facts, statistics, data as direct quotes. A memorized speech would be basically when you wrote a manuscript and then you memorized it and you presented that information from memory. This is not something that I recommend in any way, shape, or form. It takes a lot of time to memorize. Usually, when we memorize something and then we're reciting it, our voice isn't natural. We tend to sound robotic. We're so worried and focused on saying everything exactly right that we don't think about our presentation and delivery style. We have a hard time ad-libbing if we need to. We can't clarify. We just need to say things exactly as we wrote them. So memorized speeches do not allow for a natural delivery. Issues to think about when preparing your delivery. Will there be a lectern or a platform for you to use? Many students, this is an online course, and many of you are giving it from home. So, what do you have in your home that you can use to place your notes on? If you don't have something like a lectern or platform, then consider you would probably need to use note cards because you can't hold a piece of paper up throughout your speech. Many students find very creative ways to do this. It might even be your mom's cookbook holder in the kitchen, or your cookbook holder in the kitchen that you prop your notes on, but there are ways to be flexible and have a lectern. Other students may give it from their office, school, the college, their church, because that type of equipment is available. Think about the size of the speaking space. Will it be indoors or outdoors? For our speeches, it's important that you always do your speeches indoors unless you got other type of approval. Outdoors, we just don't have control over the elements. There may be loud cars driving by, dogs barking, the wind may interfere with the camera quality. So just think about all of the challenges that come with outdoors, and if possible, it's important to give your speech indoors. Is the microphone available? How many people will be in the audience? All of this relates to your voice production. It's important to practice. Practice makes permanent. It only makes perfect if you practice perfectly. But it's important to practice so that the information that you want to say is impressed upon your mind. Practice even if you feel comfortable speaking in public. You want to make sure you feel comfortable with the material that you're giving. You're comfortable with your notes, how to use them, how to incorporate them, and you're comfortable with the content that you're sharing. Practice your speech beforehand at home or elsewhere the way you will give it to a live audience. So practice out loud, practice standing up with a lectern if you're going to have one, with an audience, even if it's just a few people. Time yourself as you practice with each of your assignments in this course. There is a time frame that's required. If you go over or under that time frame, there are point deductions. So as you practice, it's important to time yourself. Keep in mind, if you're like me and you tend to talk fast, when we're nervous, we talk even faster. So make sure that you have a grace period, a cushion in your time, that if you get nervous and you rush, you're still okay within the time requirements. Practice by recording yourself so you can see and hear yourself present. So, how to use your hands in your speech. Use gestures as you normally would. If you have a larger audience, larger gestures are needed. If you're not gesturing, place your hands on the side of the lectern. Do not put your hands behind your back or in your pockets. Be mindful of excessive energy coming through your hands from adrenaline. If you talk with your hands on a regular basis, it's important to tone that down when you're giving a speech. Hand gestures are important and they need to emphasize main points and main ideas. So if you're talking with your hands the entire time, sometimes those main points and main ideas get a little lost. How to manage your feet and posture. Keep your feet about a shoulder width apart. Keep a firm foundation and try to avoid twisting your feet around. Bend your knees, don't lock them. Roll your shoulders back for more breast support and better appearance. And remember that the lectern is not part of your skeletal system. So consider objects in the speech. Only bring what you absolutely need. Think about jewelry, fringe, hair and face. These can be distracting. If you have on a lot of bracelets, take those off so they don't jingle. If your hair gets in your eyes and you find yourself constantly tucking it back, pin it back for your speech so that doesn't become a distraction. Wear comfortable shoes with good support. So, how to use a lectern. You use it for your notes. You place your notes on the lectern. Don't lean on it, tip it, hug it, or grip it. It's not there to hold your physical person up. It's just there to hold your notes and you can rest your arms on it. How to make good eye contact. Because eye contact is the most important means of connection in Western cultures. Try to maintain eye contact approximately 80% of the time. Focus on individuals for about 5 seconds. And it's important to balance your eye contact across the room and don't just focus your eye contact on one individual. That's going to creep them out a little bit. How to use your voice. Your volume is how loud or soft you speak, so make sure you can be clearly heard throughout your room. Pitch is how high or low. If we don't vary our pitch, that's called monotone. Varying pitch adds interest and variety to our message. Rate is how fast or slow you speak. Talking too fast can make you not clear, but talking too slow and steady can take away interest. So it's important to vary your rate. Pauses can be effective for attention. It can show that you're really emphasizing a main point, but be wary of vocalized pauses. We all do this from time to time, but it's the uhs and ums. Sometimes uhs and ums take over speeches. Uhs and ums indicate to your audience that you're unsure of what you're going to say next. It's natural for us to have some of these. That's just what we do. What's not natural is if every other word or every sentence is an where you're trying to get the next thing out. That's indicating that more practice is required. Remember the importance of practice. There's really no substitution for it. Remember energy. If you don't show that you're invested in your topic and your speech, why should your audience? And the way that you show that is through your voice, your facial expressions, and your body. If that's not visible to the audience, your audience is not going to then be invested in what you have to say. Throughout this semester, after every speech, you're going to fill out a self-reflection. And in that, I kind of challenge you to think about, what did you do well? What do you feel like you're doing well at? What delivery component do you think you're better at than others? And then what is your goal? Throughout the semester, our goal is not perfection. Our goal is progress and improvement. I want to see you take feedback from me, take your own personal feedback after you've watched your videos, and use that feedback to become a better speaker by the end of it. We're not looking for perfection. We're humans. We're not going to be perfect, but we're looking for progress. We're looking for considering the ways that you can engage with your audience more, that you can improve certain aspects with delivery to really impact your message. That's what we're looking for. So as we go through this semester, I look forward to seeing your speeches. And most importantly, I just look forward to seeing progress through each and every one.